Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Kaiserreich. We're holding the line at Peshawar. It looks like the Germans are getting involved, which is probably good for Afghanistan. Russia! Oh, Russia. Russia. Yeah. I think Russia's about to head into a civil war. But, like, you know, maybe that's just me. Maybe that's just me. Could just be me. I feel like the way that Azerbaijan looks at it is whoever wins, we lose. Neither option is good for us. Let's just proceed. Ninth International Congress. Delegates from socialist nations and political movements around the world gathered in Paris today for the latest in a series of world congresses. While the mantle of the Third International is taken up by the Communards after the Russian Civil War, the ideological tenor of the event promises to be very different, with syndicalist parties being newly dominant force the far left. Delegates were greeted by a military parade, an exhibition of avant-garde art, and finally a speech by the chairman of the CSP. At the top of the agenda is the spread of revolution to Asia and North America, ongoing conflict in Spain, policy and colonialism, and the requirements for membership in the Third International's military alliance. An interesting development. Not a revolting development, but an interesting one. Scott, who's... I don't think that matters. I'm more than willing to just chill out over here. Sticking to 4-speed, just to make sure. Right, I never... Everything here needs to be... We don't have any infantry equipment. How much infantry equipment are we making? Good amount. Feel like training small mountaineer divisions is probably what we want to do. Because, like, it will let us cover our front lines, and it will let us fight in the mountains. And our nation is majority mountain. Speaking of the mountains, we are launching raids in the mountains. We are trying our best. Oh, boy. Okay. Okay. Blood in the passes. Reports have arrived from the mountain passes near Shusha. A convoy carrying food and ammunition to the local garrison was ambushed at dawn. The attackers, armed with rifles and explosives, vanished into the hills after destroying the lead truck. Several soldiers were killed, their bodies mutilated and paraded in a nearby Armenian village. A brutal message from the guerrillas under Garagin Nizde. The streets of Baku buzz with alarm as citizens demand swift justice. While newspapers fill their columns with outrage, opposition deputies accuse the government of inaction, calling Musavat blind and complacent. Military officers whisper in barracks and cafes the patience of the army is near its limit. The army will answer in kind. We must not inflame the mountains further. And mobilize the Mujahideen. This is a war for our faith. I think we are going to have the army answer in kind. Oh boy, these sort of wars always end super well. I love it when two different countries have cores on the same place. We no longer have strikes of the Ganja workers. Oh, there we go. Joining the fight here. I don't think it's that important, but... Oh boy, Malta secures independence. Following the disaster that was Black Monday, the Kaiserreich was beset by numerous uprisings and revolts, with the nations and territories under their grasp as the local populations across the empire attempted to stab the global hegemon in the back as it lay weak and exposed. Though most of these results proved to be fruitless wastes of human life, the same cannot be said for what occurred in the small archipelago of Malta to secure their own independence. An allegedly Masonic group, calling themselves the New Sons of Malta, supplied separatist forces on the island and roused them to establish temporary coalition and rebel. These so-called New Sons, however, were unable to secure their rule and collapsed just as quickly as Malta gained freedom. With New Sons forced to flee the island and the German flag over Valletta now lowered, the small island nation of Malta stands at the crossroads while the rest of the world rages around them. The heart of the Mediterranean rises into freedom. Wow. That's irrelevant. Wow. 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 Probably should disperse our industry. As far as I've heard, dispersed industry's, like, been the better option the whole time, but, I don't like that. Okay. This option is sick because it gives us more guys. The boost to social democracy and liberalism is bad news bears for us. But we got to do what we got to do. Assist the farmers. The agricultural sector of Azerbaijan has been undergoing a challenging period. Since the onset of the crisis, it's imperative we provide financial support to our farmers in the form of subsidies in order to enhance their well-being and prevent crop failures in the years to come. We'll do our best. I think this battle is taking too long. I don't like how long that supply limitation is lasting. Is that better? Apparently it's better. That's the year. A year is a little more achievable. It's not really worth it, but like, Right. I don't think that's a success. Whoa! Remember what I said? Oy. So let's start with the most important news first. The 1936 Australasian election passes. The Australasian Confederation has been in political chaos since the fall of the Scullin Ministry in 1935, with the Country Party ruling as caretakers in minority. Birdwood finally forced the government, who was using the chaos to force concessions from the Nationalist Party, to call for an open election, leading to the result of the Country Party achieving a majority government in Canberra Parliament. With a stagnant economy, a split political scene, and challenges of managing the Confederation with New Zealand, it's expected the next years will be tough. Interesting. And then sort of like something else happened that's like maybe not that big of a deal. Russia plunges into civil war. After a devastating defeat in the Weltkrieg and years of turmoil and crisis, Russia is once again plunged into anarchy and the chaos of a new civil war. Each side attempt to gain support from home, abroad, and home. Only time will tell the victor. Socialism lives on, it seems. He who accepts the class struggle cannot fail to accept civil wars. Thanks, Vlad. Anyways. It's these guys. And these guys. And these guys. Hey, it's Savinkov. And this dude. Kornilov. Great. Awesome. Baku Harbor workers strike. The docks of Baku. Baku, master of darkness. Port workers, long underpaid and overworked, have gone on strike, halting the flow of oil exports and grain shipments. German and Russian commercial interests demand immediate action, fearing losses, while local communities sympathize with the strikers' plight. Musavat leaders call for immediate enforcement of order, warning the economy cannot afford disruption. Deploy the security forces immediately to open the docks at once. Negotiate directly with the workers and formally recognize unions. I love that. Penalty to stability, that's the best. But at least it's only going to last for a month. So we're going to lose less than 1 point of stability from that. So not exactly that big a deal. This war is going on for like a longo time. No. I'm going to stick around. Okay. Chernomortsi elected in Kuban. It's Chernomortsi faction gained a majority in the recent elections. The Parliament of the Kuban People's Republic. The Chernomortsi, or the Black Sea Cossacks, are a faction looking forward to joining Ukraine in federal union, or at least greatly strengthening the ties of the Kingdom of Ukraine. The opposition has criticized the elections, claiming they are held to violations. Will Kuban finally join the Ukraine? Who can say? Railway war, oh boy. Railway war erupts in Tashkent. I think that's what's going on here. Tensions reached a critical point in Tashkent as the railway crisis intensified into a conflict. In response to the Russian garrison's reluctance to disarm, The Turkestan National Guard took control of the Russian controlled sectors of the city. Chaos ensued as the remnants of the Russian garrison attempted to flee on board armored trains, only to encounter ambush by the local mujahideen. The violent clashes led to oppositional forces now openly revolting against Mustafa Shokay's government. The region is on the brink of further instability as the specter of civil war looms large. Turkestan is truly playing with fire. Wow. Turkestan. Can I do anything here? Maybe. Okay. Anyways. Partito Comunista d'Italia achieves majority. The Fourth Congress of the Socialist Republic of Italy has ended with the Partito Comunista d'Italia, led by Antonio Gramsci. Hey, it's Gramsci again. Achieving a majority of seats in the government. The victory marks a shift in the syndicalist revolution towards the ideals proposed by various previously failed communist revolutionaries. Communism? I almost forgot about it. Anyways. The Siberian army is marching west. The Russian state in the Far East has finally erupted into war with the Petrograd regime. The first clashes have already broken out in the morning, and now the Russians are killing each other. They're already doing that. There was a civil war. Nevertheless, it will be a long road for Alexander Kolchak to cross. If he wishes to reach Moscow and Petrograd, only time will tell the victor. Fighting a land war in Asia, I put the war above the motherland. Alexander Kolchak. Wow. March on Khiva. Oh, boy. Today, the whole of Turkestan was shaken by the news of the massacre in Khiva. The revolutionaries, taking advantage of the absence of Junaid Khan, dictator from the Yumand Turkmen tribe in the city, were able to seize the capital and the Khan's palace, proclaiming the restoration of the true power of Sayyid Abdullah Khan. Upon knowing the push attempt, Junaid Khan gathered additional loyalists and announced the march on Khiva, resulting in fierce resistance of the city defenders and conspirators. Their forces were not enough, and the Mujahideen managed to recapture the city. The conspirators, however, managed to escape, but Junaid Khan's power appeared stronger than thought. The people will not forgive him for their atrocities, I guess. We care about that. Oh, God. Okay. Interesting. Ashes of the pipeline. Under the cover of night, saboteurs struck again. A section of the German-owned pipeline east of Ganja was blown apart. Flames rose so high they could be seen from the city walls, illuminating the smoke-stained hills. 2 engineers and a guard were killed in the blast. German shareholders already dispatched urgent telegrams to Baku demanding the protections of their assets and warning dire consequences if such attacks continue. In the cafes, markets, and streets of Baku, some whisper of an Armenian guerrillas under Gregorian Nezdeh, while others point fingers at corrupt officials and bureaucratic negligence. We will rebuild, and the Germans will be compensated. If our sovereignty is threatened again, they will regret it. Workers bleed while the rich are indemnified. That, meh. How are things going with the Armenian terrorism? Bad. Not good. I feel like if our sovereignty is threatened again, they will regret it. Russian Liberation Front has joined, Russian Revolutionary Front has joined the Russian Liberation Front. Okay, so the Russian Volunteer Army and the Russian Revolutionary Front, they're buddies with each other. I think we're still in let them fight mode. East Karelia. I don't know. I'm not hugely concerned. Again, whoever wins, we lose. We should introduce public works. We should have done this a while ago because it sets duration for the Berlin stock crisis. Anyways, the Ministry of Industry has put forward a proposal aimed at increasing unemployment. Aimed at the increasing unemployment. I'm like, I don't know why you'd want to increase unemployment. By implementing public works programs for citizens, particularly during the development of infrastructure in certain undeveloped areas. How exciting. Alright, so the conservatives are stronger. Yeah, we don't have an absolute majority. Apparently all our achievements are going to crumble. It seems bad. Okay, man. More? Okay. That's, certainly something is happening. Am I sending volunteers to do this? Absolutely not. Oh my god. So much is happening. Wait, why are they involved? Why is the almighty Don Host involved? What's happening? That's weird. Okay. Feel like it's probably in our best interest to, like, support these guys. I feel like sending... No? Cavalry? Might be good. Because I want... If these guys win, then they get more land. Coup d'etat in Siam. News emerged from Bangkok today. The group of officers and intelligentsia calling themselves the Kana Rastadon, or the People's Party, had successfully seized control of the government. Key government officials are under arrest, and the king and his heir are said to be safe and well looked after by the new government. A statement was issued by the new prime minister announcing this was not a military coup, but rather a peaceful transfer of power while a constitution was put in place. Concerning. We don't need to do anything. We can just chill. Yay! Haku, Master of Darkness. Alash Party wins election. Today, following the resignation of Alihan Bokehon, the early election of the Alash Order took place with 3 parties vying for leadership. One of the parties managed to secure a clear victory. The Alash Party retained its position and established a government. Aliman Yermakov, Bolekhan's successor, now faces the challenge of unifying the fractured party and the nation in order to maintain Kazakh independence. While the party may not be as united as it once was, Alash's continued success serves as a powerful testament to the Kazakh people's determination to remain steadfast in their chosen course. The ideals of the Alash Party have not yet become obsolete. I don't know. I'm kind of interested in this Central Asia stuff. All right. We need to do stuff. Do we want to improve the economy? Not yet. I think we need to grab a chief of army, which means an army doctrine. I'm inclined to go static defense. Elastic defense. I mean, commando doctrine would give me more... No, actually, no, it wouldn't. I don't know, just guns and butter. For reduced supply consumption. I don't know how useful that's going to be, but whatever. I feel like that's mediocre, but the thing I'm mostly getting from that is army experience. Which, yeah, that's the thing. Alright, still 36. Tanks, ha ha ha. Good one. Trucks, maybe a little more feasible. But let's start with guns. The idea of, like, building up an air force or something seems a little bit unlikely. Hey! It's a white piece, I think. What happened? Whatever, I don't care. It wasn't a win, which is kind of what I was hoping for. Might have been a white piece. Alright. My boys have gone to Rostov. Just in time to die. Because holy guacamole. Some Moto Mecho. I want to just get cavalry. I don't think motorized mechanized is actually all that useful. Okay, it is Delhi wins the fourth Anglo-Afghan War. News from Delhi has circulated. The Dominion of India has declared their victory over the invading Afghans, who have been forced to cede their lands they've conquered in the Third Anglo-Afghan War. Parades have been organized throughout the nation, while the rest of the Entente sent letters of congratulations to the ruling Governor-General. The king, after hearing the news of the victories, declared it to be the sign of changing times, promising the citizens of the Dominion will be rewarded in due time for their bravery and valor in the battle for the crown. Meanwhile, the Kingdom of Afghanistan has fallen into instability, with even some advocating for the Emir to step down after this embarrassing defeat to infidels. With the Emir's rule openly questioned, more and more of the radical elements of Afghan society started to spread their influence and destabilize the nation. The bandits under Kostiani Tajik, named Habibullah Kalakani, have started to raid cities and engage in looting and pillaging as they see fit, with even some saying the bandit leader eyes the Dur-e-Duran throne itself. It's a big victory for the Entente, but many say it was a foregone collision, as the emirate was all but cornered into a war with the Empire. No surprises there for the world. Is that what happens? Well, I probably shouldn't throw away Azerbaijani blood to defend the almighty Don host. I'll be honest, that seems kind of dumb. But, like, I don't know. I guess. I'll see what happens. Either way, I will see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.